Hello, my name is Dr. Donna Robinson, Senior Manager for Programs and Operations for CASA DC. And I would like to welcome you today to our grand open house. Today you will learn about all of the varied programs we have here at CASA DC, as well as how to refer our most needed youth to receive a CASA volunteer. So without any further ado, I am going to pass the mic over to Allison Kahn, our Chief Operations Officer.
Brief introduction as to who we are as CASA for Children of DC, what our model looks like, why we do what we do, and who our different programs are. So we are going to start with a better understanding of who CASA for Children of DC is and where we fit into the wider CASA community and DC. CASA for Children of DC's mission is to connect every court-involved youth in DC with the one-on-one support of a consistent adult figure who can advocate for their best interests and promote positive outcomes. Our ultimate vision is that every trauma-impacted youth in DC receives excellent advocacy and support to unleash their full potential to thrive. CASA for Children of DC was formed almost 20 years ago in 2002. Since that time, we have trained over 2,000 advocates and served over 1,900 youth. We are a DC chapter of the National CASA and JAL program. Though we are based off of the National CASA and JAL model, which provides one-on-one court-appointed special advocates to foster youth, we provide unique programming such as serving juvenile justice-involved youth, and really ensure that our work promotes the specific needs of DC's youth. We work with a particular model that takes the CASA model of one-on-one volunteer mentorship and best interest advocacy, but we also incorporate that with 4 domains that we've specifically identified at CASA for Children of DC to best serve the youth of DC, and to also ensure that we are addressing the areas of a youth's life most impacted by childhood trauma. A little bit more about what that mentoring and one-on-one support looks like. CASA volunteers form a one-on-one mentor relationship with a youth or a sibling group. CASA volunteers engage youth in positive activities and work with youth towards goal attainment. Youth are supported across 4 key domains: permanency, education, well-being, and life skills. So what do those look like? These are our core mentoring activities across our 4 domains. First and foremost, our volunteers visit with youth 2 times per month. That consistent engagement, that relationship building is absolutely vital. And next we have engagement and support across our 4 domains. The first is permanency, working towards successful case closure, reunification, guardianship, adoption, or ensuring if youth is going to age out, that they're able to do so in a way that they have independent life skills and have transitioned towards adulthood successfully. Our CASAs also really work to ensure that our youth are in a stable and safe placement. Next, we have education. This includes really helping our youth with academic achievement, but also incorporating learning in their life. Our CASAs help support youth in learning activities, promote attendance and academic success. Our CASAs have the opportunity to visit youth at school, to engage with academic providers, and also do some core work with older youth around attainment of graduation and working towards higher education or skills training. Next, we have well-being, addressing our youth's behavioral, emotional, and physical well-being. And our CASAs provide key support here, educating and helping youth practice coping strategies, engaging youth in recreation, really being that positive support and engaging in positive relationships with the youth, but also really working collaboratively with the youth's team, which we'll talk more about. We don't set those appointments for physical needs for our youth, medical needs for our youth, but we do really work with the team to ensure that those needs are happening and being addressed. And next we have life skills. Life skills is really working from our youngest youth to our older youth on some of those key experiences of exposure to new experiences, character building, working towards goals, exploring career interests, and then really strategic work with our older youth such as engaging in budgeting and working with youth for preparation for the workforce. And that is our mentoring side of our core model. Next, we have our advocacy side. CASA volunteers advocate for their youth's best interests in court and the youth's interdisciplinary team, such as their social worker, their JL, their probation worker, based on the personal relationship that they form with the youth through that mentoring side and an assessment of the youth's needs and supports. CASA volunteers are appointed by the court and have the authority to participate in court hearings, team meetings, to address records, and to engage with important individuals in the youth's life, such as academic providers, which we discussed, placement providers, and other individuals. We have several core advocacy activities to support the mentoring side and to ensure we're able to communicate recommendations and supports needed to address the youth's needs. Our CASA volunteers assess our youth. That includes observation, visiting, reviewing records. They communicate. That is, as we've talked about, communicating with important individuals in the youth's life, the teachers, the placement providers, but it also means regular collaboration with that interdisciplinary team, the social worker, GIL, probation officers. And that all leads to that core advocacy. Our CASAs have the opportunity to write court reports. They are court-appointed special advocates. They have the opportunity to appear in court and provide recommendations in court. Our CASAs recommend permanency goals alongside the team, but they also provide advocacy to that interdisciplinary team for needed supports and services that may arise in between court hearings. And something important to note about the advocacy side is even if a youth is not well engaged in those in-person mentoring supports, the assessment and communication and collaboration can allow the CASA volunteer to still provide robust best interest advocacy, even if that is coming from these assessments and communications, and they do not have as regular engagement with the youth. What makes CASA DC unique? CASA DC is the only organization in DC that unites mentoring and court-appointed advocacy. CASA volunteers work with court-involved youth in the child welfare system, juvenile justice system, or those who are duly involved in both. And that is unique to CASA DC versus other CASA chapters throughout the country. And our 4 domains and special programs are also unique to CASA DC. Those have been developed based on the needs of DC youth, the trauma impact that we've observed, and are unique to CASA DC versus national CASAs and CASA chapters that you would see throughout the country. So why do we do this work? What makes this work important? We know, based on rigorous research and data, that you can observe that foster youth face lower academic achievement than their peers. And this is true in DC and throughout the nation. Foster youth have increased risk of future unemployment, poverty, homelessness, and justice involvement. Abuse and neglect and removal from home are adverse childhood experiences that contribute to childhood trauma. And adverse childhood experiences have been linked to risky behaviors, lessened school performance, relationship difficulties, and chronic health conditions through adulthood. But at the same time, we also know that a consistent positive adult figure can serve as a protective factor against adverse childhood experiences. And if you're interested in learning more about adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, the CDC has done some rigorous review of adverse childhood experiences and their protective factors. You can go to cdc.gov and read a lot more about that and what some of those protective factors, including that consistent adult figure, can look like. Studies also show that youth with mentors are more likely to have improved academic outcomes. Mentor-mentee relationships can promote positive skill development, healthy coping mechanisms, and career readiness. And youth with CASA volunteers have reduced number of placements and increased services based on studies that have been done by National CASA. So these are some of the core reasons why we have our CASA Core model and why we do the work that we do. So we're going to look at very briefly CASA DC's programs. And this is the core of our open house. After we move on from our introduction, you'll have the opportunity to go into breakout rooms and learn more about the individual programs of your choice. So everything we've talked about today is a part of CASA Core. CASA DC seeks to provide consistent support through mentorship and advocacy to youth, which recognizes the impact of trauma experienced by court-involved youth and evidence-based practices to help youth thrive. This is the CASA Core. This is the foundation of our work across programs, and every one of our special programs uses this model as a foundation. Our special programs include Bridges, which serves youth involved in the juvenile justice system, Empower, supporting youth survivors of trafficking and sexual violence, the Family Treatment Court or Thrive program, supporting substance-impacted youth and families, MAP, the Multicultural Advocacy program, serving immigrant and first-generation youth, and Preparing Youth for Adulthood, empowering transitioning youth towards a successful adulthood.
Awesome. So, welcome, Allison, to Family Treatment Court / Thrive, Family Reunification programs in the breakout room. Here, I'm gonna just tell you a little bit more about the Family Reunification program, the umbrella, and the programs that we have to support youth and families that have been impacted by substance abuse. So, over the course of the next 15 minutes, I'm just going to talk to you about the Family Reunification programs, Family Treatment Court, and talk to you about our initiative that we are currently developing with Thrive and the population in which we want to serve and the impact we want to make on the Thrive side. But overall, a general sense of the work that CASA has been doing on the family reunification front with our court-involved DC youth and families. So at CASA, I am James Fleming. I run a family reunification program. I'm the family reunification manager. And that's a big umbrella for two programs that we currently have. Family Treatment Court, which is through the DC Superior Court, in which we are a partner with, where we provide our CASA services and support and advocacy to youth impacted by parental substance abuse. And we are also currently developing a new initiative to continue supporting families impacted by parental substance abuse. But the difference is the focus will be more so on families with in-home cases, open in-home cases, and the hope is that we actually can expand that initiative to reach more families in the community who are not court involved, but yet who can benefit from our mentoring and advocacy services. So what I have presented to you is a triangle, a little diagram to show the different avenues in which families who are impacted by substance abuse, how they can be connected to CASA for our services. So, well, to my left, we have Family Treatment Court, which is our traditional route in which we receive referrals and our families, which has, like I mentioned, we are a partner in a Family Treatment Court program. We are part of the team that provides the service to the families. That's for our court-involved families. We receive those families directly from the FTC court and the judge through their program and their referrals. We have another avenue in which we want to impact families. We want to share our knowledge and our resources, and that's going to be through the initiative Thrive. With Thrive is really going to be focused on reaching those families with open in-home cases, and like I said, expanding more deeper into the community where there is no court involvement, and there might not be any CFSA involvement, but there is a need for just advocacy to be connected to resources because of any trauma that may be inflicted, or just because of the fact that the family is going through a struggle right now due to the parental substance use or misuse. So I will spend some time talking more about the initiative Thrive and how it ties into Family Treatment Court. So Thrive is an acronym that stands for Together We Can Help Children to Heal, Become Resilient, Gain Insight, Feel Valued, and Become Empowered. The idea for Thrive came about from our experience working in Family Treatment Court. Great program, very holistic, And we really empower parents and their families to hit the ground running to ensure that they receive all the resources and support that they need to combat substance misuse, to combat whatever trauma that they have that's been inflicted, and get on the process of healing. Through our work with Family Treatment Court, we also, CASA also noticed that there was a small portion of families who were not receiving our support or our resource. They weren't aware of our existence and that support like ours existed. That's where the initiative Thrive came from. Because of Family Treatment Court's strict criteria and eligibility, a lot of our families do not fit the Family Treatment Court, and that's okay. That's okay. The idea of Thrive was just to be able to provide that support to those families who are in need of just advocacy, of those children who are in need of that consistent one-on-one support from an adult while their parents are focusing on their recovery. So the idea of in-home came about because, hey, how do we know what's going on with these cases? If FTC is focused strictly on DC court involved the youth, we at CASA DC really wanted to ensure that all youth who have been impacted by substance misuse were being represented by a caring adult and a consistent figure in their life, just promoting great outcomes, promoting that groundwork for healing. So, as I mentioned, Family Treatment Court has their own criteria for parents to become eligible to enter. We're here with our initiative with Thrive. We're looking just to expand our reach in the DC community. So, as I mentioned, number one, Thrive is really looking to make an impact on the families who have open in-home cases with CFSA. So our initiative, we actually have a letter of support, and we actually are collaborating currently with CFSA's Project Connect, who has another program of CFSA that's been put in place to support families in the DC community. They have court-involved cases, and they also have community cases, non-court involved families. Our initiative, Thrive, is currently collaborating with Project Connect to provide our CASA support and services to the youth in their court-involved cases, while we also are working behind the scenes to expand our program to reach just a small few of the community cases in part of our pilot launch. Again, we are doing this initiative is really trying to put our CASA work in the DC community to see if this is what if our work really can become a preventative resource. We've done a great job, and we continue to do a great job being an intervention for families and youth when they've already entered the court system. Now we want to take on the task of becoming more preventative, ensuring that the family does not even enter the court system in general, right? So that's the big piece of who we're looking to serve. To break it down, just about the children and the youth between the ages of 2 and 17 is really the core of youth ages that we're looking for. And again, they have to, we're looking for in-home cases. So any family that has an in-home case, we're looking to provide them with that support as well. So in the beginning of our town hall, Allison, Mrs. Compawley had explained to you briefly what we offer to our youth. The Family Unification Program, we go, I'm gonna go a little deeper into what we provide to our youth that makes us unique a special program. Aside from our foundational engagement, which is one-on-one with each youth, aside from the foundation of creating a safe and affirming space to give youth the opportunity to process their emotions, their feelings, and set them on their path to healing. Here at the family reunification programs, we also promote family bonding and reinforce stability through our engagement with the family. That's one unique aspect about the family reunification umbrella, is that we not only do we operate from the lens of the youth, we also operate from the lens of supporting the family as a whole, because it's about reunification, right? We want to ensure that the family has everything that they need, support-wise, resource-wise, to promote stability, to strengthen that bond, strengthen and repair the bond that's have taken a hit, that might have taken a hit because of that removal from the home, because of the trauma that's been inflicted. We want to give our families opportunity to show their growth in real time. Our volunteers have been trained. We have continued to provide training on how to facilitate those opportunities in a unique but organic way. And everything that we do is always for the best interest of the youth, right? So that's the reason why we include the family in our engagement with their family reunification programs, because we understand that the best thing for the youth is to be at home with their family, in which they were with their parents. We understand that mistakes happen, choices have been made. No one's going to demonize you for that. What we are going to do is afford you the opportunity to learn new skills and to put those skills to the test in real time. So that way, if there's any other issues, if there are any concerns that you need, we got it. We can address those concerns in real time instead of you going backwards to becoming systems involved. The idea is to make sure that the family has everything they need to stand on their own too, once the case is closed, and they have the foundation to stand on to improve their life. I just talked about training. So the foundational training, pre-service training for our volunteers is really very robust. It's trauma informed of 30 hours. That really gets into the heart and the foundation of the work of a CASA volunteer. But also at family reunification, we also go just deeper with our training. And like I had mentioned for the previous slide, the focus is really on supporting families who are in recovery, right? So how do you support a family who just experienced a relapse? How do you support the youth who experienced that relapse in their face? Excuse me. How do you promote stability and family bonding? And we're not trained parent coaches. These are some of the topics in my trainings and workshops in which I present and I facilitate for our volunteers to strengthen our work and the quality of our service being delivered to these families. We also, has program managers, are always seeking out new information and new trainings ourselves to learn more about the different trends that are ever evolving in social emotional learning and trauma informed learning, and in the DC community in general. So what I have right here is not always set in stone. It's every month, we always evolving, and our trainings are always based on our current needs of the youth and families. But again, the trainings are really center around family engagement and ensuring that their family is receiving that support and that consistent care from an adult. And all right, it looks like I'm out of time, but the difference we're trying to make, the initiative, the how we try to make an impact is really going into the community.
A lot in your individual sessions, and now we are going to look at how to be able to refer you to CASA DC, and I'm going to pass it over to Haley.
Hi everyone, I'm Haley and I'm one of the CASA supervisors here, and I am going to be talking to you a little bit more how you can start the referral process. So all CASA DC referrals must be authorized by the court. However, when a partner identifies a youth for CASA services, we can facilitate that referral through coordination with the court. So there are 4 ways to make a CASA referral through kind of 2 different avenues. So the first avenue is directly through the court. And one way that you can do it through the court, so this is way 104, is requesting CASA services at the court hearing. And another way is filing a motion through the attorney specifically. And then the second avenue is through CASA DC ourselves. And the first way that you can do that is by emailing the referrals at casadc.org and requesting a referral that way, or completing the survey at this link, which I believe Donna will be putting in the chat for you all.
Or you can complete the Get Feedback referral survey using the link below and make a CASA referral or request at that point. If you have any additional questions, feel free to contact the program manager for either of the programs that you're interested in, or you can send your questions to referrals@casadc.org. Thank you for attending our session today.